Hey everyone, Digital David here. Today in this video, I'm going to be checking out the Nextorage. This is their 4TB PCIe 4.0 NVMe SSD. I did receive this sample to review, but any opinion expressed in this video is strictly my own. That being said, if you're interested in this drive or you want to find out more about it, the link to it will be in the video description. Here's a look at the retail box. In packaging, everything looks great. In case you're wondering, they have multiple storage capacities available and you can choose to purchase it with or without the heatsink. We have the 4TB version with 4,000 gigabytes, and you'll notice with these drives, even on the retail packaging, they let you know that this does come with a 5-year warranty. Now let's go ahead, let's open it up and see what's inside. Here are all the contents. First thing I want to show you is the nice protective packaging that the drive came installed in. That's great to see. We have the drive itself right here. Everything looks great. We got our 4,000 gigabytes clearly labeled on there with their logo and branding. Take a look at the back side with some additional product information. See how everything looks there. Unbelievable that the size of your index finger is the size of this drive and we can have 4 terabytes of information in it. You also see we have a piece of product literature if you're interested in the image OEM software. Now let's go ahead, let's get the drive installed. So on your motherboard, identify your M.2 slot and where you want to install this particular drive. In our case, you'll see we already have a heatsink, so we don't need a heatsink with this particular drive, but you may or may not depending on your setup. So it's only going to fit one way, so make sure you line up the pins properly and then just gently press down in place. You might have a screw here to attach, no big deal. Now we need to take our heatsink and just gently press everything back on and in place. So there we go. We now have the M.2 drive installed. Let's try it out. So we finished benchmarking our drive, but before we get to our data, I wanted to cover a couple things with you guys. First and foremost, when you see the read and write scores, you want to know that the higher the score, the better it is, the faster drive that you have. Typically with Gen 4 drives, you'll see speeds around 7,000 megabytes per second. Also, I wanted to show you what the brand actually advertises here. They publish some Crystal Disk Mark results, which we're able to verify with our own benchmarking PC. So they advertise 7,300 for their read speeds and 6,900 for their write speeds. Well, what did we get with our own system? Let me show you right now. First up, read scores. We got 6897, so almost 6,900. That's still going to be 400 megabytes slower than what they were able to achieve with their system. Now keep in mind, different parts and components and obviously real world usage scenarios can factor into why these results are different. These are just our own findings, and it's good to see that we're still getting close to the high-end top echelon Gen 4 speeds out there. And if you're noticing on the screen, you'll also see we have an average indicator. That's going to be the overall average from all the drives we've ever tested. Now, keep in mind, we only have like 3 samples in there right now. So this will grow over time as we benchmark all of our drives and future drives here, building out and refining this data for you to give you even more accurate results and findings. But right now, it's just a frame of reference for you. Please take it with a grain of salt, as with everything else that we're doing here, just trying to provide you with some clarity and confidence for your purchasing decisions. But at the end of the day, it's up to you. So Crystal Disk Mark read score 6897, below the average that we're seeing for Gen 4 drives of 7176, and well below the 7300 average that they were able to achieve. Write shows similar results, but we close the gap here. 6800 is what we were able to get for our write speeds. That's just 100 megabytes slower or lower than the 6900 that they were able to achieve, and we come in slightly above average of all the drives that we've tested. While I don't have access to the remaining benchmark software to compare with their drive specifically, I do want to share my own findings from our drive here in case you have a drive that you want to run to compare with this drive. So first up, we did NovaBench read score of 2316. That's going to be below the average that we were able to achieve across all of our drives of 2758.5. Same can be said for write. We're a little bit below average here for NovaBench, 5693 compared to the average of 58 84. Moving right along, SSD, we continue that theme of being slightly below average here. We got a score of 4981 for our read speeds compared to 5499 across the board. Write, very similar as well. You'll see 5177 is our score compared to 5447 for the average. Blackmagic read speed of 4,777 compared to the average of 5189. So again, we're coming in a little bit below average here. Write speeds, similar story, you guessed it, 4998 compared to 5219. So where does all that leave us? Well, it comes down to cost per gigabyte. So in this case, it's the classic, you get what you pay for. So we've been below average in performance, and now we're below average in cost, and that's always a good place to be. And specifically with these Gen 4 drives, I would argue we're getting good enough speeds. It doesn't matter if we're not getting an extra 100 or 400 megabytes per second at this point. For everyday users out there like myself, I can't tell whether I'm using this drive or a higher performance Gen 4 drive, exporting videos, copying and pasting files, streaming, you get the idea there. So for most users out there, I think it'd be better to have the results that you've seen and pay 2 cents less per gigabyte than to pay 2 cents more per gigabyte to get slightly faster results that may or may not even be noticeable to you. The last thing I want to say is as follows. Time will tell how long this drive will last, but so far so good, and you can buy with confidence since it has a 5-year warranty. I can't imagine what sort of speeds we'll be getting in 5 years. We'll be on to Gen 7, 8, 9, or 10 by that time, and chances are you'll probably have already upgraded by then.